Welcome back to Money Majlis. We are back in season 3 with a special deep dive into the plumbing of the digital economy, payments, processing, and merchant acquiring in the Middle East and North Africa or MENA region. The region's digital payments market is already approaching $250 billion and is forecast to cross $400 billion by 2030, outpacing many global peers. Here in the UAE, card transaction values alone have crossed $150 billion in 2025 with double-digit annual growth as consumers and businesses shift decisively to digital. Against this backdrop, the UAE has just created a new fintech powerhouse. Yes, it is a powerhouse. Network International and Magnati have completed their merger under the ownership of a Brookfield-led consortium, creating what is now described as the largest, one of the fastest growing fintech platforms across the Middle East and Africa, operating in more than 50 markets and handling in excess of $400 billion in total payment volume. This combination is happening just as real-time payments in Middle East and Africa are projected to grow at over 27% a year to 2030, and mobile payments in the Middle East are expected to expand at more than 24% annually. Today's conversation is about what this all means for banks, for merchants, for consumers, and for innovators across MENA, and what the future of the payment stack could look like in a world of AI, tokenization, stablecoins, open banking, and cross-border e-commerce. To unpack that, today's guest is someone who has sat at the intersection of cards, digital banking, and fintech transformation in Turkey, the US, and now in the UAE, and who is stepping onto this new chapter with a mandate to scale, innovate, and integrate at speed. But first, a message from my wonderful sponsors who support the giving movement of Money Majlis. As you know, most profits from this podcast go to charities. More details on my website, moneymajlis.com.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Saxo Bank, the trusted European bank helping you make better investment decisions.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the leading digital payments technology company in the Middle East and Africa.
Money Majlis is proudly supported by Now, the premier crypto-as-a-service provider, now building in partnership with the top financial institutions in the Middle East. Discover more at aquanow.com.
Money Majlis is brought to you by E&, a global technology group. Money Majlis is proudly sponsored by WealthBricks Capital Partners Limited, the trusted, independent, and expert wealth management firm.
My guest today is Murat Suzer, Group Chief Executive Officer of Network International, the Dubai-headquartered payments company that merged last year with Magnati to form what is billed as the largest fintech platform spanning more than 50 markets across the Middle East and Africa. Under a Brookfield-led private ownership structure, this combined entity processes over $400 billion in total payment volumes, serves more than 250 financial institutions, 240,000 merchants, and upwards of 20 million cardholders. As the UAE card market alone crossed $150 billion in 2025, that scale positions Network at the heart of the region's shift to digital commerce. Murat brings more than 2 decades of experience across payments, consumer and SME banking, digital channels, and fintech. Before joining Network in early 2025, he held a portfolio of senior roles at Guarantee BBVA, including CEO of Guarantee BBVA Payment Systems, Turkey's largest, one of Europe's sizable card payment businesses, Executive Vice President for Consumer, SME and Digital Banking, and later EVP for Corporate Banking and Investment Banking and Global Markets. In those roles, he helped oversee more than 18 million active customers and over 500,000 merchants, founded new fintech ventures in areas such as payment facilitation and digital assets, and sat on the boards ranging from the Turkish Interbank Card Center to Garanti BBVA's Romanian and security subsidiaries. Early in his career, Murat led BBVA's consumer banking franchise in the US, managing 641 branch network and a team of roughly 5,000 people with a focus on sales transformation and digitization. He actually started out in sales and trade marketing at Danone. Yes, Danone, before moving on to strategy consulting at McKinsey, working with financial institutions, telcos, and consumer companies. Murat is an industrial engineering graduate of Middle East Technical University and holds an MBA from INSEAD in France and Singapore. Murat, welcome to Money Majlis. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. As you might know, my connection to network is manifold. One is that I worked for, 17 years with Emirates NBD Group, the parent company that established Network in 1994, way back in 1994. Two is that I sat on the board of Network for a few years. And finally, as the retail banking head of Emirates NBD, I was Network's largest customer for many years. As such, this conversation is an important one for me professionally, and hopefully we'll unearth some very nice nuggets. How are you doing today, and how have you settled back in Dubai after a stint in Istanbul?
Well, thanks for asking. And first of all, thank you very much for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here. So far, Dubai, UAE overall, it's treating us very well, as much as it does for everybody else. I'm here with my family, my wife, my two kids, and we have settled down. I moved for more than a year now. So far, so good.
Excellent. Murat, is there one thing from Istanbul that you miss in Dubai?
Oh, that's a very good question. Maybe the snow in winter.
Yep.
And I haven't found a good simit yet in Istanbul. There's this bagel type of things.
Correct.
Those are the two.
The simit, I'm sure, will come soon. The snow might take longer to come. But let's get on to the big picture, Murat. I'll zoom out first. I'll zoom out to the MENA market and give you a few set of figures before asking for your comments. Now, analysts expect the MENA digital payment market today to be about $250 billion US dollars back in 2025, just last year, and could grow to more than $400 billion by 2030, implying a growth of about 11% a year. So double digit for sure, with UAE alone accounting for about 24% of the entire market. Now, when you look at these numbers, Murat, from your vantage point of Network International, what do you see as one or two, let's say, structural forces that will determine whether MENA can genuinely outgrow global payments over the next decade as a market?
Sure. I'm a big believer that it's going to outgrow for sure. And it did already in the past few years. And that's one of the main reasons that I moved from other places of the world to here as well.
Yeah.
The structural forces I think are there, and it's kind of known. One is definitely around a very good vision and partnership between regulators, investors, and the operators that creates a unique ecosystem in the region.
Yeah.
Each country is definitely different from each other, and their level of advancement is different as well. But I think in terms of what each country wants to deliver from a digitization perspective, it is out there. Obviously, UAE is a model. Saudi, with its vision to 2030, it's there as well, and it's growing significantly in this area.
Yeah.
And the investments are there as well. So that's definitely one big source. That's kind of a model for other countries as well. And then the other one is, in this region, especially, we are talking about Middle East and North Africa.
Yeah.
The number of cards that are being issued in this part of the world is growing much more. Or the digital payments, or the amount of wallets, or the prepaid cards, and etc. that are being issued or printed are much more compared to the other parts of the world. It's partly generated by the under-penetration of some markets, and it's partly generated by the demographics of those markets and the investment of those markets as well. But the overall output of that is within the region, there is more activity. And that more activity means that a card printed in one place is being now used more in other places. And every year, the activity within the region from a digital payments perspective is growing by 20% a year, which is an enviable number if you just compare it with anywhere else in the world.
Now, tell me, Murat, the cashless rates, adoption rates in this market, a lot of research shows it's in the 80s or high 80s. What is the UAE model of digital payments in your view? Is it about infrastructure, which is of course very good here? Is it regulation, which is supporting the growth of digital? Or is it consumer behavior, the fact that consumers have a high penetration of mobile devices, for example? What aspects of this model are exportable, you think, to other MENA markets that you handle where cash is still very prevalent?
Sure. When you have a look at to those three things, which is the consumer behavior, regulation, and infrastructure, I would definitely prioritize regulation and infrastructure over the behavior of the consumer, because the consumer behavior can change. And it can be also changed as well. It can be impacted. The consumers are very open in terms of change, typically, if you just give them the right incentives and the infrastructure and the tools as well. Right? So if you compare UAE with the UAE of 10 years ago, I think it's very clear and straightforward what all those infrastructure investment and regulatory vision delivered in the past decade. So I would prioritize those two as the main criterias compared to anything else. And yes, it can become a model for other countries. And I've seen a lot of countries already visiting UAE to figure out what has been done in the past to copy and paste.
Now, let's move to real-time payments, Murat. Real-time payments in this region is forecast to grow more than fivefold by 2030. But there are a number of forces at play here, right? We are seeing card-based acquiring. We are seeing account-to-account real-time payments. We are seeing mobile wallets in this region, some markets more than others. In your view, do they cannibalize each other, or does an acquirer like Network actually benefit from orchestrating across all these rails?
The latter, for sure. As a customer, and we are customers as well, right? So we utilize those payment methodologies as individuals in our lives. We want to buy something.
Correct.
And we don't necessarily pay for something. And while buying it, we would like to have access to any methodology that's more beneficial for us or that's more convenient for us. So the main role of a good payments platform is to make sure that the customer and the merchant has access to as many payment alternatives as there is out there, so that they can choose. They can choose the one with speed, the one with quality, the one with security, based on how they would like to use it. So we see it as an opportunity, and we are investing accordingly as well.
Let's move to a growth area, which is e-commerce, right? We've seen e-commerce GMV in MENA has been growing about 30% annually, with the UAE and Turkey, both your markets that you're very familiar with, emerging as major cross-border fulfillment hubs, and average order values in the mid-30s in US dollars. From your vantage point again, what are the most important cross-border corridors in MENA for the next 5 years, you think? Is it GCC Turkey, GCC India, GCC Africa, or maybe even GCC Europe? Which of these do you think are going to emerge the strongest?
GCC India and GCC Asia, and especially the eastern part of Asia. I think that's a fast growth area. India is already a well-proven track. GCC Turkey is growing pretty well, and GCC for the rest of MENA is also growing very well. So I think where we are sitting today, we are going to see growth across all of those. And we have been observing it with the number of small businesses that's being that's being established in the countries in the region, in UAE, in Saudi. We see from the growth of businesses, the inflow of investment, that's going to continue to grow double digits going forward. So for me, it is more around, do we have the structural elements for the growth? And the answer is definitely yes, which is going to be much bigger than the other one. At this point, GCC India is a pretty big one.
And tell me, with growth comes both risk and opportunity. We are seeing rising fraud risk, of course, but there's also appetite for value-added services, things like revenue enhancement analytics, advanced risk engines, etc. How far do you think MENA acquirers and processors are using AI, not just for fraud detection, but also for things like dynamic pricing, churn prediction, and working capital underwriting? Is it being used yet or still to come?
It is definitely being used at this point. It really differentiates from player to player, though. At Network International, we have 3,500 people, and we serve in 56 countries.
Yeah.
So the output of that is we learn from 56 countries, right? So if one of our customers in South Africa is having an issue around fraud, the moment that we see it, then it means that from that learning, all of our clients in 56 countries are getting protected. So it gives us one benefit, just because of the pure scale of the business. And then the other benefit is the amount of expertise that we have that's built in the past 30 years with those 3,500 people after the merger of Network and Magnati. It is very unique. There is no other payment platform in the region who would say more than maybe 500 people. So when you put all of that talent together and then do the right level of investments into AI, then you would automate. You would automate a lot of things. And the output for 2025, for example, for any of our clients who's working with Network is close to zero fraud rates. Right? With very high approval authorization ratios. That's actually a best practice in the region. The main reason behind that is the right investments have been done in the past in terms of automation. And then my background personally, we have hired and built a team around it as well on AI and the new generation of AI. And also using the expertise of the team together, we have started using the new generation of AI more and more, because in the past, what was happening is the following. In the past, you need a big model with a lot of data through machine learning to prevent the fraud. Today, through the new generation of AI, it can create its own data. So we don't need as big data sets as we did 2 years ago to improve our models to serve our customers. But if you think about the amount of energy required to build those, Network International is spending more than $500 million to its infrastructure every single year.
Wow, that's a lot.
Right? So that requires scale, that requires investment to be there. So this is why I mentioned that depending on the player and depending on the investment, everyone is at a different stage in terms of the usage of AI on fraud and other areas.
And you believe you're on the cutting edge of this in the region?
We are definitely the leader in the region. And there are a lot of things that we are working on to be much better going forward.
Now, Murat, let's move a little bit to the big picture for Network and Magnati. Network story has gone from a listed London company to one of the largest private equity-backed fintech platforms in the region very recently. We know that Brookfield and partners paid around 400 pence per share, valuing Network at GBP 2.2 billion, 2.2 billion British pounds in 2023, and completed the delisting and acquisition in 2024. What does being privately owned by a Brookfield consortium change for you in practice in terms of investment horizon, let's say risk appetite, let's say speed at which you can perform, compared to when Network is public? How do you see the change?
Sure. As a private company with a small group of people, you can really decide on what is next for a company in the following 3 to 5 years and even longer period of time. And the element of the pressure in terms of going in front of the market every 3 months and publishing news is not there. So you can really focus all of your effort on how much you can build and deliver so that it provides you not only in the short term, but also mid-term and long-term growth. So I see a lot of benefit and potential of being a private company. But then at the end of the day, at some point, the private companies, the moment that you see that, okay, we have a good strategy, we have a good plan, the plan is in action, and we have already seen the starting points and the output of those, it may make sense again to get back into the markets, because being in the markets has its own positives as well.
Correct.
So that's one front of it. And then the other one is definitely the access. Being in 56 markets requires that we are very active in 56 markets. We have people on the ground, but it is always great to have a network of individuals who can help to our teams, who can help me, who can help my executive team on building their own businesses. And that's what we have been seeing with the consortium. It's Brookfield-led consortium, but we have multiple players, multiple different investors in that consortium who's always there, and on any given call, any given time, they are ready to help.
Talking of going private, only yesterday, Mohammed Al-Abbar at a public forum said the worst decision Oman has ever taken is going public. He said every quarter, like you said, it's almost like being naked in front of the public every 3 months. And that puts so much pressure that sometimes doesn't lead to long-term performance. So what you're saying is being private allows you to focus on strategy, which is for the longer term.
Yes.
Tell me, let's talk about the Magnati merger. Today, as a combined institution, you serve over 250 financial institutions, almost 250,000 merchants, and you operate in up to 56 markets across Middle East and Africa. When you look under the hood, where is the real synergies you're getting with the Magnati merger?
Sure. Well, the first thing is both Network and Magnati, both payment platforms, they have very good payment experts. And you combine those two companies, it automatically gives you more payment experts, which is more brain power to solve the biggest problems that we have going forward for small businesses, for corporations, for governments, and etc. So the second one is the scale itself. At the end of the day, they are two separate payment platforms, and 80% of the time they are doing the same thing. So the moment that you merge those two payment platforms and make them one payment platform, it automatically gives you some synergies from a cost perspective.
Yeah.
And then the other one is product. Network over time built its own set of products, and Magnati did the same thing. So what we are working on, what we are doing is the moment that we merge the platform, which we are doing already, we are also migrating the products from one platform to the other one as well, which means we have a better set of products that we can offer to our customers.
Excellent. Tell me, you now operating under the combined Network International brand, as the group CEO, what are some of your top integration priorities for the next couple of years?
The first thing always on integration on day one is making sure that everything functions very well and smoothly for our customers.
Yeah.
And we have just received 2025 NPS, and we are 70 plus in terms of our customer satisfaction and engagement scores.
Wow.
Which is a really, really good score, especially in a year of merger. It shows that our teams has done a good job in terms of helping our customers. But that's always the first thing, because the customer in our case, it's part of our values as well. Customer comes first. Then the second one is making sure that our team is well engaged, because it's two separate cultures that we are trying to merge into one culture. It doesn't happen in one day.
Yeah.
It has to take time. It has to happen over time. And in the meantime, there has to be a process of convincing. So it's happening right now as well, so that two teams are becoming one team. And while they are becoming one team, they are also learning from each other their strategies on how they can deliver better to our customers as well. So those are typically the two things that are on top of our agenda. It was, especially in the year of 2025. However, going forward, it's going to be more around, okay, it's merged. What can we do more and faster with higher agility?
Well put. And talking of scale, are you looking at expanding outside your current markets?
Definitely.
You are.
Yes. We are first our priority is GCC. Within GCC, we are also actively looking for new acquisitions. The reason why GCC is a priority is that we are seeing a lot of investment coming into GCC, and we are seeing more and more of that investment looking for a coverage for all GCC. So we would like to provide them all that coverage, and we are planning to finalize it by first half of 2026, that we are going to be a payments player where we are going to give you all GCC coverage so that you can accept payments anywhere in GCC. In Africa, we are already in good shape, especially in e-commerce. In almost everywhere in Africa, we have coverage. So when you combine that together with the GCC coverage, there is no comparison for Network International compared to any other payments player in the world. So this is why we are prioritizing that way, and that's the agenda that we have.
Understood. This is a good time for a commercial break. But before we break, a brief word about the causes close to my heart. At Money Majlis, we believe in money with impact. So most of the profits that I make from this season of the podcast will go into charitable causes that are either regional or global. The 6 charities that I support in this season, and in no particular order, are Dubai Cares, Red Crescent, Save the Children, Educate Girls, Rudy A. Menon Foundation, and the World Wildlife Fund. My guest today, Murat, has decided to donate his $1,000 gift card to the World Wildlife Fund. As a listener, you have the chance to contribute with him to the same charity or any of the 5 charities on my website, moneymajlis.com. Go to the page, click on the social impact section to get your $50 gift card, and then click on a charity you like to ensure the money goes from me to them. See you after the commercial break.
In Money Majlis, we talk about making informed money decisions. With Saxo Bank, you get access to global markets from a single advanced trading platform. Stocks, ETFs, Forex, CFDs, commodities, and more. With research and tools right there in the platform, it's easier to make sense of what's moving the markets. Learn more at home.saxo.me.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the Middle East and Africa's digital payments champion. We make business happen and economies prosper by simplifying commerce and payments. Trusted by over 250 banks, fintechs and telcos, and 130,000 merchants in over 50 countries. Bringing you tomorrow's payment solutions today.
The financial world is changing fast. Institutions need to meet the growing client demand for crypto financial services, but they need a battle-tested platform to build upon.
AquaNow is a leading crypto financial services platform, powering incumbent institutions to launch crypto brokerage, payments, and remittance services for their clients, securely and at scale.
Be part of the transformation. Visit aquanow.com today.
The end touches your life.
In more ways than you can imagine.
You want more tech,
More speed.
more convenience,
more entertainment.
more business solutions,
Ian gives you all that.
and so much more. The end. Go for more.
Your wealth deserves an approach built for tomorrow. Welcome to WealthBricks Capital Partners Limited, where wealth is structured, preserved, and grown through trust. Our approach is holistic and covers private wealth, asset management, and corporate finance. Your wealth deserves more than legacy. It deserves foresight, clarity, and confidence. WealthBricks Capital Partners Limited, an independent and expert wealth management firm, regulated by the DFSA.
Welcome back. In today's Money Majlis, we are in conversation with Murat Suzer, the Group CEO of Network International, the largest fintech in Middle East and Africa. Murat, just last week, Network announced a partnership with the Al Maria Community Bank, or M-Bank, to enable the AE coin, the UAE Dirham coin, the UAE Central Bank's licensed AED-backed stablecoin, to be accepted across your POS and e-commerce platforms. For listeners who may see stablecoin and immediately think of a speculative crypto, what does it actually mean, in very practical terms, for a Dubai retailer or an online merchant in Abu Dhabi, when a coin goes live on your rails?
First, let's define the stable coin. The stable coin is a coin that's stable because it's linked to a stable currency.
A fiat currency.
It's a fiat currency.
Yeah.
So it could be linked to US dollars, it could be linked to dirhams, and etc. And given that it's linked to a stable currency, a fiat currency, it becomes safer. Why? Because the currencies, they don't fluctuate in a day by 50% typically, unlike some crypto coins.
Yeah.
So it gives automatically a high level of trust and stability immediately. That's the stable coin's nature. Then comes the regulations around it.
Yeah.
A regulator comes into the picture and they make sure that the coin is accepted or spent in the right way to protect the economy. And to grow the economy together with it as well. So all those regulations are being implemented in UAE and in the wider region as well. Depending on the country, there are different maturities, but it's happening. Now, the implication of that for our consumers or for our businesses is that we just discussed that any consumer should have the option to pay in whichever way they want to. In some cases, they want to pay with their coins.
Yeah.
If they want to do so through the stable coin, we are going to be able to accept those payments. We just need them to turn it into the stable coin that's accepted in the country.
Yeah.
That's the starting point. After that starting point, I'm sure that going forward, there are going to be other coins that's going to be accepted in the market as the regulations matures. And as the consumer behavior together with it matures as well, but it's a very good starting point at this point. The output is going to be immediately, the merchants are going to be able to accept stable coins, AE coin, in the market.
It's also a very important signal, Murat, don't you think, for where regulated digital money is headed. Are there other markets globally where this is happening today?
Yes, of course. So there are other markets that's happening already, and Europe has come with crypto regulations the earliest, but in terms of its implementation, it has been slow. Versus US, it came with its own regulations as well. That's closer to MiCA, the European regulations, but now they have been implementing much faster, and we are seeing different alternatives and methodologies in there. And obviously in China and in Asian markets, we are seeing different type of methodologies in terms of crypto acceptance, payments as well. Now, the important thing on this one is for customer protection, it should be regulated in the right way, right? And this is what UAE has been leading so far, where they have put the right people and the team and the regulations around it to make sure that it is being accepted in the right way. And we are at the beginning of it, and we are going to see that it's going to speed up going forward, is my personal hypothesis.
And what does this mean for how you design your tech stacks and your risk models? Does it change that as well?
So this is another methodology in terms of getting paid. Right? So you can pay via your card, you can pay with your money in your account, through an account. You can pay through your digital wallet. And for each one of those, we had to regenerate or at least improve what we have. And this is an additional way of paying, which means that for this one, there are certain risks that we need to handle accordingly, right? Such as if you pay through your cards, debit card or credit card, you have chargeback protection.
Correct.
In some cases, you don't have that chargeback protection if you do account-to-account transfers.
Yeah.
And then you don't have the same protection if you pay through stable coins or any other coins. But also, it gives you maybe better benefits in terms of speed, agility, or just personal choice. So in any new technology or infrastructure, there are some certain inherent risks that can be mitigated with the right actions. And given that we have been doing it in the past 30 years, and given that the regulators are highlighting what needs to be addressed, I think we are in the right path, and the customers can safely use stable coins for acceptance, and the merchants as well at any given time in UAE.
And this has full support from likes of MasterCard, Visa, and the other franchises?
My understanding is yes. It is here. I think the first thing is how the vision of a country is set.
Yeah.
Based on that vision, the rest of the players are typically aligning around that vision, and they are trying to build the best solutions for the customers, because the best solutions for the customers also means that the best possible outcome for the business as well. So that's more or less the partnership that's happening around this, and I'm observing that multiple players are working towards it. Right?
Is UAE the only country in the region where stablecoin-based payments are now a reality?
That is my understanding. There are still regulations coming in to make sure that the acceptance is done in the right way. But yes, that's my understanding.
Not in the US or UK yet?
In the region, if you are talking about Middle East and North Africa, yes, it's the only one. In the US or in UK, you can pay through your wallet.
Crypto wallet.
Yeah. And it could be more than the stable coin that you have.
Okay. And that's yet to come in this market.
Yes.
Now, apart from this, Murat, the reports I've been reading about, your product launches since the merger revolve around digital wallets, BNPL, cross-border payments, SME lending, and AI-driven revenue enhancement, models and tools for merchants we talked about earlier. If you had to pick 2 or 3 product bets where you'd want network to lead across the region by, let's say, 2028, what would those be?
I think the first one is the following. So network is a payments platform, but as a payment platform, network is an intermediary of that transaction that's happening.
Yeah.
You are serving to banks, financial institutions, telecom players, merchants, and that merchant could be a very small merchant or a very big merchant. Let's go one by one. If you are a very small merchant and you are in need of accessing a loan, you need to apply for it. And in that application, the credit underwriter is going to ask you some information. Most of that information is already buried into your daily card transactions that's happening on your POS, on your virtual POS. So the first function that we see at network is we are packaging all that information, and based on your consent as a small business, we are sharing it with the bank of your choice, so that the bank can use all of that information to give you first a faster decision, a higher approval rate, a better price, and maybe a lower installment size by giving you higher number of installments. So that's the first thing that we do. And I think we are already doing around 15% of the small business loan leads are coming out of network to the UAE market. We are not funding it ourselves, but we are helping to the merchant so that they can increase their access to the loan itself. That's number one. Number two, when a new business opens in the country, in any other country that we are in, we are trying to go to that business the first. And when we go there, we don't want to only give them a device that accepts payments. We would like to increase their revenues. And the way to increase their revenues is we also provide them data and insights in terms of how they can improve their businesses. So we have done significant investments around this. We have formed a team around this, and we can discuss more later in terms of what exactly we are providing them. But that's the second piece, apart from the first one. And then the last one is if you go to the corporations. For the corporations, typically, they have the resources. They have the teams, they have the investment, but they don't have the expertise on payments. And that's our role. So what we provide them is fraud solutions, security solutions, better insights into their card portfolio or merchant portfolio. Or in some cases, we do it end-to-end for them so that they are in front of the customers, but also they are using the state-of-the-art technology on payments as well. Those are the 3 main areas that we are focusing on this year and the next year.
That's a good segue for me to ask you the question on financial inclusion. There are various parts of the Middle East and Africa that are still structurally underpenetrated. I mean, there are markets where card and POS penetration are a fraction of UAE, and SME access to affordable payments and credit remains limited. How do you see the new Network International using your 50 plus market access to move the needle of financial inclusion?
So what we do a lot is we partner with the governments across the region. First of all, to enable governments to access individuals through prepaid card programs, for example. Right? So it could be a health-related benefit, it could be a travel-related benefit, it could be any other benefit that a government wants to extend to their people and population. We are providing the individuals the wallets and the prepaid cards and then digital functionality so that they can see what their balances are, they can spend their balances in different acquirers. It doesn't have to be us. So we provide that platform, and those platforms are very useful for financial inclusion. The other piece is the lending that I've talked to you about. Typically, very small businesses, they need small cash, and they don't need it for a long period of time. Maybe they need $20,000 for 2 weeks because they are expecting for a check or for a money transfer that they are waiting for. And it is not easy to access that only $20,000. But in our case, we have the information, so we can make it much easier for them to access to that cash by using our partners. We already have 10 partners that we have partnered with, that we have incorporated them into our core platform so that when a customer gives the consent to share the data, we are giving their data to the lender so that the lender can decide much faster. So that's another piece. You can call it kind of micro lending for small businesses, but it's quite important for them to access. So those are a couple examples in terms of how we work with different parts of the ecosystem to increase access.
Is it a possibility that a future date network will do balance sheet lending?
Yeah, we don't want to do balance sheet lending. It's our core business is not balance sheet lending, and there are very good players, very good banks, financial institutions who are already doing it very well. We see our role as a platform who enables.
Got it. So Murat, at this stage, I'll shift gear and move to you, the person from Network and McKinsey. You started your career, Murat, in sales and trade marketing at Danone. And then you spent time at McKinsey advising banks, telcos, and consumer companies before moving into banking and payments. It's almost like your third life now. Looking back, what are one or two lessons from FMCG and consulting, your first two lives, that you still consciously apply when you're leading a large fintech like Network?
FMCG means fast-moving consumer goods.
Correct.
Fast-moving consumer goods is, for example, the chocolate that we eat or the biscuit and etc.
Yeah.
Or a detergent that we use. And the first thing that I've learned over there is it is never only about the product. It's also about how the product makes the customer feel. Right? So the learning from there was to make sure that every product addresses a physical need and an emotional need. And that's why we are using different type of detergents for the same type of white colors, even though the performance are very, very close to each other, right? Then consultancy is very different. It's different in a way that it has to be very agile because you go into a business, in some cases you don't even know that business, but in 3-4 months on that business, you need to come up with a solid executable plan and present it to people who knows that business typically much better than you.
Correct.
So that's the interesting thing about that business. To be able to do that, there are a few things that one needs to learn. One is being very flexible. The second one is making sure that you are able to ask the right questions. And the third one is making sure that you can come up with hypotheses. Instead of just asking a lot of questions, it's sometimes very easy to come up with some logical hypotheses and then test them first. And then it gives you a much faster start on any other topic. So when you combine those two, it gives you a lot of agility with the ability to ask the right questions and improve things a bit faster.
Very interesting. You might actually call payments FMCG as well. It's a fast-moving consumer good,
Definitely it is.
right? A consumer service.
It is, and it's, I think, even faster than FMCG itself.
With probably more complexity. Murat, as CEO of Guarantee BBVA Payment Systems from 2020, you led what has been described as Turkey's largest, one of Europe's sizable card payment businesses, serving more than 18 million customers and more than 500,000 merchants. Turkey is a volatile market. What were the hardest trade-offs you had to make in that role between pushing innovation, things like crypto or DeFi, and maintaining resilience and regulatory comfort in a volatile macro environment?
Turkey is 80 million population, around 3 million small businesses. It's one of the big markets out there in the world in terms of the numbers, in terms of the units. So in that market, with the demographics that it has and the location that it has, there is a lot of interest from different players to see if they would like to be in that market. And with that interest, you have to be very competitive because every other year you would see another player coming into the market with big interest, with a lot of investment capabilities and etc. So the decisions are always around how we are going to be the most relevant player in the market for the customers that we serve. There has been nothing else in my agenda, most probably in the past 10 years, in any job that I've been into. Because the moment that that's the only thing in your mind, and typically if you can guide the rest of your organization, team members, even shareholders together with it, then it works pretty well. And the moment that the customers are feeling that there is the value that you generate, then typically it works. So always the toughest conversations or the decisions are around what is right for the customer and what we need to do it today, even though sometimes it means that it hurts profitability or it hurts something else.
And before Turkey, Murat, you ran BBVA's consumer banking franchise in the US with a 641 branch footprint and around 5,000 employees under your remit, focusing heavily on sales transformation and digitization. How did that US experience of large-scale retail banking shape your thinking about consumer behavior and channel strategy, and how much of that you think is applicable to MENA today?
The US experience was the following. I moved to Houston, Texas in 2017, and we had a BBVA USA was the bank, and the bank had $60 billion of working balance under consumer banking division, which I was leading. That $60 billion volume is out of multiple states across the United States, 650 more or less branches. Now, and the digital banking and etc. around it. What I want to do over there is to digitize the bank fully and make it ready for the next generation of banking. Because what you would see in US banking, which is typically a surprise to anyone who goes to US, is that it's actually behind.
Correct.
Compared to the other markets in the world. From a technology, digitization, and etc.
Behind by many years, actually.
High fraud rates, still a lot of use of checks, and etc. Right? So 2017, I joined the bank, started a big effort around digitization and customer experience improvement. Our market cap was $2.5 billion in 2017. In 2020, another big bank in the US offered us $10.6 billion after 3 years, and we sold the bank. It's public information, obviously. So, and the main reason why we were able to sell the bank 4 times was it was much more relevant for the customer. It was one of the top 5 creditors, credit lending, credit card lending, personal lending in the United States. Only after 18 months I joined, through the digitization efforts.
Interesting. Now, Murat, you studied industrial engineering at the Middle East Technical University, and then you did MBA at INSEAD across France and Singapore. How has that mix of quantitative engineering training and global MBA education influenced the way you approach transformation programs?
I think my background is industrial engineering, which is operations research. Operations research is a lot about optimizing things.
Yeah.
It could be about optimizing a product, a process, or an organization, but it's about the optimization itself. It could be optimizing a route. That's the engineering piece. Engineers typically, they build things for purpose, and they want them work, and then they improve it over time. Versus in MBA, you have time to set back without working in anywhere else.
Yeah.
And think about, instead of minimally improving things or marginally improving things, what are the best ways to really start building them from scratch so that it becomes significantly better rather than marginally better.
Correct.
And there's a balance between those two, right? So there are a lot of things that you just need to marginally improve, but then there are also a lot of things that if you prioritize in the right way, you should just write it down completely and build it from scratch so that it becomes much, much better. So I think, and obviously MBA gives a lot of opportunities to understand new cultures, new experiences, new use cases. That's more or less the combination of those two efforts that I'm trying to bring in the past 10 years to what I do.
Very interesting. Murat, your career has been full of crises, from FX volatility in Turkey to rapid rate cycles and, post-pandemic shifts in payments, and now the entire digitization, open banking, blockchain, etc. If you had to articulate your leadership philosophy in 2 or 3 principles that guide you when you're making difficult calls, what would they be?
That's a good one. So in my career, I have been in US, in Turkey, in UAE. Also, I was part of BBVA's global strategy team, which is 25 people running BBVA globally. So it gives you access into multiple markets, Mexico, Argentina, Venezuela, Colombia, and etc. And Turkey as well. We are emerging markets, so anything can change anytime. And when anything can change anytime, the first thing is about positivity.
Yeah.
So if it changed, that's fine. The initial reaction has to be, okay, there's something coming in. What can we get out of it? And that positive mindset actually helps a lot in terms of fixing anything. And the second one is flexibility. So if positivity and flexibility is together, the rest is the talent and the skills and the team that's surrounding you, because there is going to be always someone who's going to have a better idea than you. As long as the ideas are there, the execution is kind of easier to do for me.
Wonderful. Murat, before we finish, I have a rapid fire round of fun questions for you. The rules are simple. You have to answer within 3 seconds. Keep your answer to maximum 20 seconds and no overthinking. The first answer that comes to your mind, right?
All right.
Is it right? There's no right or wrong answer.
Let's go.
Here we go. So Network International Magnati have just merged into a regional fintech champion. If this company were a sports team, would its style be more Barcelona tiki-taka, NBA fast break, or a methodical F1 pit crew?
Barcelona, tiki-taka. I like the speed. I like the teamwork. And I like the fact that it requires a lot of effort and investment to get there.
Super. You started in FMCG at Danone. What is one lesson from selling yogurt and consumer goods that every fintech founder should learn?
Consumer need is not only physical, it's both emotional and physical. So you need to think about the emotional needs as well while you are building your product.
Interesting. You worked across Turkey, US, and now the region here. Which city, purely from a payments perspective, has the most fascinating everyday payments culture, and why?
Istanbul has a very unique culture because you would see in Istanbul that all card brands are known better than the bank brands themselves. So card brands are different than the bank brands.
Yeah.
And people would know the brands of the cards much better than the brands of the banks. And very interestingly, the card brands there is about fun. So you would see comedians promoting the cards rather than the element of trust or peace and etc. It's a unique market in the world in terms of how payments is positioned and communicated to its customers.
How interesting. You've lived in at least 3 very food-rich cultures. If you had to pick one go-to dish for a late-night strategy session, Istanbul, Dubai, or somewhere from US days, what's on the table?
That's a very hard question. I mean, I love the food in here. I love Turkish food as well. I've lived in Texas, so Texas barbecues and etc. are fantastic. But I've grown up with, I'm from the south part of Turkey, and I've grown up with the Turkish döner. So I'll pick that one for sure.
Excellent. If you are not running network, what other profession would you see yourself doing?
I have started businesses myself. Around one business was on makeup, the other business was on
Makeup.
The other business was on e-commerce, the other was on education. So I like building, and I like building for others to use. I think I would just go back to that.
Okay. As someone who has sat on advisory boards for schemes like MasterCard and Amex, what is the most surprising consumer insight that you ever seen in a boardroom?
So in some card programs, you would see it says member since.
Yep.
Even if you don't give any other benefit and you turn the color of the card to black and put a member since in there, it creates a lot of emotional bonding on the customer. Of course, the benefits and etc. are very much needed, but I realized over time that I've underestimated how powerful that membership is for the customer and their needs. So that was a quite interesting learning when I've seen the numbers and the comments around it.
Very interesting. And finally, Murat, in one sentence, complete this for your younger self starting at Danone. Dear Murat, in payments and banking, never underestimate ... What that be?
Never underestimate the importance of people that are surrounding you in your journey.
Wonderful. Murat, this has been a fascinating tour of where payments, processing and acquiring are headed in MENA and how a newly merged Network International is positioning itself at the center of that story. Thank you for sharing both the big picture view and the very human side of leading through integration, transformation, and the inside story of selling yogurt. Murat, any last comments?
It was a pleasure to be here. It was a pleasure talking to you. You are an industry veteran, so your questions were very, very tailored to the dynamics of the industry. So I really enjoyed it. I think last comments are around maybe a thank you to all the team members that I work together, the shareholders supporting, our customers who are working with us, and our regulators who are supporting us as well.
Wonderful, Murat. Best of luck to you in your new journey with the bigger, better, more agile Network International. We wish you all the best.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Saxo Bank, the trusted European bank helping you make better investment decisions.
Money Majlis is brought to you by Network International, the leading digital payments technology company in the Middle East and Africa.
Money Majlis is proudly supported by Now, the premier crypto-as-a-service provider, now building in partnership with the top financial institutions in the Middle East. Discover more at aquanow.com.
Money Majlis is brought to you by E&, a global technology group. Money Majlis is proudly sponsored by WealthBricks Capital Partners Limited, the trusted, independent, and expert wealth management firm.
And to listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation and want more deep dives into the infrastructure of Money Now region, from real-time payments and open banking to venture capital funds and embedded finance, do follow Money Majlis, leave a rating, and share this episode with a colleague or friend in the industry. And please, please, please don't forget to visit my website, moneymajlis.com, to view past episodes and more importantly, to join my giving movement. Until next time, from Dubai, stay curious, stay well, and do good. Goodbye and ma salama.